This is the INKPULP Podcast. This is the INKPULP Podcast. Comics, hip hop, life. Welcome to the INKPULP Podcast. I'm your host, Pointy Finger, Sean Crystal. Today we're going to get into part 2 of me inking the Warped Mind Skull. Like I said last time, I broke this into 2 parts because I felt like the speed it moved at was a little slower, which allowed me to explain a little more and get my thoughts clear, and allowed you, the viewer, to see and look into this stuff a little deeper, how it's done and all that jazz. So let's get into this today. And again, this is going to be on this skull is on my TeePublic site, and you can get some cool merch with it on there. I'd love to see you at a con with some of this merch. That would be hella fire. Maybe I need to come up with a little show up at my table with my merch on and you get this. I don't know, tell me in the comments, what do you think? Click the link in the comments for TeePublic. Click the link in the comments for INKPULP Instruction, or in the description. My bad, not the comments, the description. Just click these links, do your thing. Let's get inking. And please please comment, please subscribe to the channel. Please spread the word, let others know. Let me know with your comments this new format of the INKPULP Podcast. Are you enjoying it? Which sort of episodes do you like more than others? Stuff like that. You let me know, motherfuckers. Alright? Let's get into it. Let's watch me ink. I've yapped. Peace. Welcome to part 2 as we ink this skull on the INKPULP Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crystal. But you know that. I don't know why I always say that. You know that. So here we are working on the skull a little more as usual. I've started in an area that's all black that I can have a wet tip for, and it'll be fine. When the tip gets too dry, it's hard to fill in big black areas, so sometimes I will add a little water into the brush with the ink to allow me to fill in big black spaces as solid. So that's what I'm doing here. Let's talk about the approach to this piece. It looks like I'm using a Raphael 8404. Well, I know I'm using a Raphael 8404. I'm using a size 3, which is a little bigger than I normally use. I went through a period where I did use size 3s exclusively and drew on smaller pages, and I got some interesting results. But once I went back to the size 2, I really realized how having that little bit of less meat on the brush allowed me to get into some spaces a little better. So the size 3 here, it's also, I'm drawing a bigger piece. It's just it's 8.5 by 11, but it's just a skull, and it's not like a small drawing of a figure. So a size 3 seemed fun. And I do get kind of antsy and want to play with different brushes. And that little technique I was doing was just some really fine brush strokes to create sort of a mist, like a gray and not a pure black, so I could make it look like the joint was lit with the ash and the cherry burning in there. On the sides of the skull here, where the teeth are, where I just made those marks, you'll see me come in once my brush is dry enough. I'll come into those areas and to add a little volume to the piece and get it around the sides there, I'll add little hatch marks. And you'll see me do this on occasion. So when we get to that, I want to talk about that. I just wanted to prep you for it. And here, my brush looks like it's starting to get dry enough to start doing some stuff. I want to do like the chin. Maybe we'll get on that. Or are we going to do the teeth first? Yeah, so the chin I can get, see it's dry enough. I'm getting my good flick marks. And my plan is here, I can tell by my pencils that I'll have those hatch marks in the middle of the chin visible, so a little light creeps through. But let's see. Sometimes it doesn't go well and I just black it out. So there's the hatch marks. And now I'm going to attempt to fade it into the black a little bit. It takes a little bit of work and finessing, but I like the end result quite a bit. So there I am. I guess I left it. I guess I was happy with it. I liked how it worked. It's important when you're inking, you let it be an organic process. I think it's not great to try to plan it too much. Sometimes you rob yourself of the ability to discover, which I think is really important. And I know these are very tight pencils, so it seems like there's not a lot of room for that. And maybe not as much room as if the pencils were lighter, but there is room for me to play. And like I said, I want to get away from penciling this tight because I want to see what sort of improv I can get in there. And right there are where I did little hatch marks to push something back in space but not make it totally black. And once I'm done with the, I don't know what you call this, the tops of the teeth, which would be the gum line, but there's no gums because it's all bone. I think I'll get into the sides of the skull there, and I'll be able to explain the thing I'm talking about. So here we go. Let's get these teeth lines marked out. Now I'm going to try to think. I need to be really dry. I'm just trying to get it all done. And let's see. All right, I'm doing it. So here I'm doing these fine little dry hatch lines. And you see how it gives some roundness to it. So the part where those hatch lines are not existing, like in the middle, what's happening there is its reading is lighter and then the sides of it is darker. So it gives it sort of a more volume, almost a cylindrical feel as we wrap around from one far side tooth to the other. In this part of the helmet, it's pretty self-explanatory. These little raised metal pieces will have shadows on them, and then I'm going to do little flick marks. Oh, and there I am again, bringing a little light into the darkness with those hatch lines. And sometimes I just throw them in because the brush is just working so wonderfully with what I want, and it's like, oh, it's going to give it to me right now. I better grab it while it's here. And then you'll see me fade it in a little bit. I wonder if I do it on the other side too. It looks like I planned for it, so I can't really know. But anyways, I hope you're enjoying hearing my explanation of work as we go. And if you are, please head over to inkpulpinstruction.com. The link is down in the comments. It is my art educational website where me and my producer Alan have created a series of instructional videos similar to my podcast where I used to interview creators, and I kind of bring that energy to it, and I interview them while they're creating a piece of art and ask them questions along the way, which offers the viewer the ability to understand exactly what it is they're doing, which I think is a really rare and interesting place to be invited into their mind, into their creative space as they work. And I put my interviewing skills to use there, and I'm really happy with what we've come up with so far. There's 3 episodes out right now, and we're putting out a lot more. I mean, I've got a good shooting schedule built, and we're gonna keep doing them. And I'm also gonna do little mini episodes. The big episodes are about $100 each, but they're like 4 hours of instructional, educational information. It's pretty much a masterclass, and well worth the $100. But I'm also gonna make much shorter little videos that are much cheaper. But just for those who are uncertain, maybe it gives you a taste of what the longer videos are, and when you really want to dedicate yourself to it, you can get those. But for now, head on over to inkpulpinstruction.com. There's a free lesson waiting for you if you sign up for my newsletter. We will send you a link to a free lesson. So please check that out. Also, this skull, if you like the drawing, is part of my TeePublic site where all my merch is. And you can have this skull printed on just about anything. T-shirt, tank top, sweatshirt, hoodie, zip-up hoodie, long-sleeve T-shirt, coffee mug. There's so much stuff on TeePublic. So I'm going to drop that link into the comments as well. And you can head on over there. I think I'm going to do a whole series of skulls and stuff to put on there because, I like drawing skulls. But I think it would be cool stuff for people to have. I think people would enjoy getting that stuff. And I think it'd be cool to be at a con and see some of that stuff walking around. That's kind of like a goal of mine, to just see some of this out in the wild. I'll be wearing it too, some of it. So I'm curious. So it looks like we're getting near the end here. I've just got the basically the contour line to finish off here, and when the brush is really dry, I can really just work it just like that with one single stroke. I know it looks easy, but you're looking at a couple of decades worth of practicing with the brush, and even when I make a little bump like that, I can pull out of it pretty good. So here I am just fixing it and pulling out of it. Then I got the sides of the helmet, and then I think I'm going to add a little volume to the helmet in the corners by the cheekbones of the skull, and that should take us to the end of the video, kind of like I did on the sides of the mouth. Let's see how. Yes, I definitely planned on it. So there I go. Got some line work just to push the skull forward from that back part of the helmet just a little bit. You can see how using grays and blacks can help build volume. So that's the jam. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate this. White. Yes, white. It's always nice to add a little highlight in the eyes at the end, little highlights here and there. White I don't add a lot of it, but it does add so much. You can see those eyes just come to life with a little bit of white. So thank you all for watching. This is the INKPULP Podcast. There's the finished version of the skull. And like I said, maybe you want to get some merch with it. I will see you next time. Peace. This is the INKPULP Podcast. This is the INKPULP Podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.